If you'd like to see how I make these super cute jewelry trays made out of clay, then stay tuned. In this video, I'm using cold porcelain clay, which I made myself. You could buy your own or use whatever clay you'd like. I'm making each tray slightly different so you can experiment yourself and try the different methods. For this first tray, which will end up being the pumpkin one, I'm starting with a ball of clay that's about the size of a golf ball. And then I'm rolling it into a nice round ball and then pressing it onto a non-stick surface, which for cold porcelain, one of these folders works really well. And then I'm taking an acrylic board and pushing it straight down to make a nice even circle. The clay sticks to the acrylic so I can flip it over and start working on my decorations. Next, I'm going to grab some orange clay and I'll start shaping the segments of my pumpkin. Basically, I'm making little tubes and then tapering off the ends and pressing them onto my tray. I repeated this process for all 4 segments, and for the ones wrapping around the first segment that I put down, I made them a little bit more banana shaped so that they wrapped around each other. Once I was happy with the body of the pumpkin, I grabbed a little bit of brown clay and I shaped a little stem to put at the top. Each tray I finished with a lip around the edge. For this first tray, I'm making a little snake and working in sections, putting it around the edge and smoothing it onto the body of the tray. This clay is air dry, so I set it aside to dry. Next, I'll be making the ghost tray. I wanted this one to be a little bit more organic in shape, so I'll be rolling it out by hand. I'm starting with about the same amount of clay, about a golf size amount, and then I'm rolling it into a nice even sphere. Then I'm going to press it down onto my non-stick surface, and using this rolling pin with guides, I'm just going to roll it out into whatever shape it makes. It ended up looking a little bit like bread, but I thought it was kind of fun, so I just went with it. Next, to add my ghosts, I grabbed some white clay and then I just kind of started shaping them into ghost shapes. So the top I wanted to be nice and round, and then the bottom I wanted to be a little bit more flat. Once I was pretty happy with the shape, I decided to use my finger and then the end of a paintbrush to make the little divots at the bottom of the ghost. And then I put my first ghost down onto my tray and started making the second one. I I wanted this guy to be a little bit taller than the first one, so I stretched him out a little bit more and then shaped him the same way I did the first one. And then they needed eyes, so I grabbed a little dotting tool and made divots for eyes. And then I added some little gray balls to finish them off. Now to add the lip to this tray, I decided to just pinch up the ends. So I just used my fingers to pinch it up all the way around, and I just kept kind of playing with it until it looked the way I liked. I used the dotting tool to make sure everything was nice and smooth. And once I was happy with the way it looked, I set it aside to dry. I'm starting off this last tray the same way I did with the ghost tray. I rolled out a nice golf size piece of clay, and then I'm rolling it out on this piece of tile, which it will stick to. So once you put it down on tile, it will stick, so make sure you place it where you're happy. I tried to make somewhat of a circle and just kind of kept rolling it out and playing with it until I liked the way that it looked. Now to add the cat decoration, I started the same way I did as the ghosts. I kind of did a rounded top and a more flat bottom, and then I pinched off 2 ears. And I just played around with the shape until I was pretty happy with the way that it looked. After placing it on my tray, I grabbed my dotting tool again and added some little divots for the shape of the ears. And then I added eyes the same way that I did with the ghosts. I decided it looked a little too creepy with just the white eyes, so I added some gray pupils just to give it a little bit more cute personality instead of creepy. And then it still didn't quite look right, so I grabbed the background color and I made a little triangle nose. And then at this point it looked like an owl to me, so I grabbed a little bit more of that background color and decided to add some whiskers. In the end, it ended up losing one of the whiskers somehow. I don't know what happened, but it still ended up looking pretty cute. I added the lip to this tray the same way I did to the ghost one, just by pinching up the ends and then using a tool to smooth everything out. the end, these trays took about 4 days to dry. The main part of the tray only took a couple days, but it was the decorations that took so long. Once this clay is dry, it's pretty durable, but because it's an air dry clay, it does need to be sealed somehow, so I use this bright tone. You could use any kind of acrylic sealer that you'd like. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. I think I like the pumpkin the best, but the ghosts are pretty cute too. Once your trays are done, you can use them for decoration, for putting your jewelry on. I am a crocheter, so I think I'll use one for my stitch markers. I'm pretty happy with how these came out, and I hope that this video inspires you to create your own little jewelry trays as well.